Welcome back to Whisper Hex. It's midnight. There's no wind, no streetlights, no moon. The sky is heavy with cloud cover, swallowing even the faintest glow from the city miles away. And yet the swings are moving, not gently, not slightly, violently, iron chains creaking back and forth in complete stillness. But that's not the worst part. Look at the ground. The shadows are there, long, sharp, stretching across cracked dirt toward the rusted slide. But there's no sun. There hasn't been sunlight here for hours. So why are the shadows acting like it's noon? Tonight we're documenting the abandoned playground where darkness doesn't just exist. It moves. This place went viral after a short clip surfaced online. 30 seconds of footage. A handheld camera pointed at a set of iron swings. The trees were still. The air was dead calm. But the swings were oscillating like someone had just jumped off them. People assumed wind. They assumed a prank. But when frame-by-frame analysis was done, something didn't add up. The swing chains were casting elongated shadows on the ground, clear silhouettes, as if a bright sun were shining from a low angle. Except it was 12:03 a.m. No moon. No floodlights. Nothing behind the camera that could create that geometry. And then, in the last 5 seconds of the clip, the shadows moved independently, not following the swing's motion. They crawled sideways, away from the chains, toward the slide. That's when we decided to investigate. When we arrived, the first thing we noticed was silence, not normal silence, a dense, insulated quiet. Sound didn't carry here. Even our footsteps felt muted. We set up 3 cameras. Thermal imaging, light spectrum sensors, wind meters. Everything reads 0, no airflow. No ambient light beyond what our equipment produced. And yet, as the clock hit midnight, the swings began to move. Slowly at first, a soft creak. Then a steady back and forth. Our wind meters stayed flat. 0 movement. But the iron was swinging like an invisible child was pumping its legs. Then came the shadows. They appeared gradually. Not forming from our camera lights. They formed from the ground itself, dark streaks stretching outward from the base of each swing. But here's the impossible part. Shadows require a light source. There are areas where light is blocked, but our sensors showed no external light bright enough to cast them. And these shapes weren't just absence of light. They were darker than the surrounding dirt, absorbing the glow of our equipment, like holes cut into reality. We mapped their direction, measured their angles. Every elongated silhouette pointed toward the exact solar position of this location. 40 years ago, we checked historical records. In 1986, this playground was packed every afternoon. Kids running, parents watching from benches. The slide polished smooth from constant use. And at exactly 3:17 p.m. in July 1986, the sun would have sat at a low angle directly west of the swings. That's the direction the shadows pointed. Every single one, as if the playground was still referencing a sun that set decades ago, as if it refused to accept that time moved on. Then something changed. The shadows detached. I don't mean they stretched, I mean they separated. The swing was moving left, but its silhouette kept moving right, sliding across the dirt like spilled ink. Our thermal camera showed nothing in those areas, no heat signature. But visually the shapes thickened, deepened. They began to overlap with one another, forming larger patches of darkness. And they were heading toward us. We stepped back. Our camera lights flickered. The temperature dropped 7 degrees in under 30 seconds. Like laughter slowed down until it became a vibration. The shadows lengthened again. But not toward the slide anymore. Toward our light. Our equipment became the new sun, and the darkness reacted. Here's the theory. This playground is anchored to a moment in time. A specific afternoon when light hit this ground in a certain way, maybe something happened here, an accident. A disappearance. A final day before demolition plans were announced. Whatever it was, the moment burned into the space. The light from 1986 doesn't exist anymore, but the darkness remembers its shape. So every midnight, when the world is at its darkest, the playground reconstructs the sun using absence. It doesn't need light to create shadow. It uses memory, and memory can be stronger than physics. As the shadows reached our feet, something disturbing happened. They didn't stop at the edge of our boots, they climbed, merging with our own silhouettes. But our silhouettes were created by camera lights, artificial, temporary. The crawling darkness overlapped them perfectly, as if trying to replace them. One of our crew stepped forward, and the shadow beneath him lagged half a second behind, like it didn't want to move with him, like it wanted to stay. We shut down the lights immediately. Total darkness. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then, a scraping sound from the slide. Metal against metal. And a long shadow streaked across the dirt where no light existed at all. We left. We didn't pack properly. We didn't review footage on site. We just left. Back in the studio, we examined the final frames. There was one moment, time-stamped 12:14 a.m., where all shadows converged into one shape. It wasn't random. It resembled a small figure at the top of the slide, seated, still, and beneath it. No corresponding body, just darkness shaped like memory. So here's the question that will stay with you. If shadows can exist without light, if darkness can mimic a sun that died decades ago, then what exactly is a shadow? Is it just blocked light? Or is it proof that something once stood there? And what happens when the darkness catches the light completely? Does it erase it or replace it? Tonight, if you pass an abandoned park after midnight, look at the ground. If you see a silhouette where nothing stands, don't shine your flashlight at it, because it might not be running from light. It might be hunting it. If this investigation chilled you, subscribe and comment below. This is Whisper Hex, and some playgrounds don't need children to come alive.